Hello, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today, I titled this message, The Interracial Relationship Frustrations. The Interracial Relationship Frustrations. And at this particular time, with so much happening in media, there are those interracial relationship frustrations. And if you are a believer, you will need prayer and prayer some more. And so right now, I just want to take the time out to encourage everyone who's listening to pray for those individuals in interracial relationships, because there is the anger, the upset, the bitterness, the depression, and a number of other things in some relationships because, well, there is so much happening that's inciting deep-rooted issues that have not been dealt with. And so if you are that one that's in an interracial relationship and you've never seen this side to this individual who you love, well, you might want to continue to listen to this message. There are ways to deal with a person who is angry, who's bitter, who's confused, who's upset about their decision, even getting involved with someone who is the opposite ethnicity. And of course, communication is always encouraged, but not only communication, but one must have a support system. And what we find is that in some relationships, the support system is gone. And the support system is gone because individuals did not support the interracial relationship. They supported the relationship where it was the same ethnicity. They were okay with that. But then their prejudices showed up. And when their prejudices showed up, that's when the person in the interracial relationship said, nope. If you're going to treat me like this because I'm with who I'm with, then no, I'm just not going to have anything to do with that family member or many family members. But when issues happen at the workplace, at the church, on the streets, at a business, or wherever, and these are issues that racially divide, that even put some folks in the jail, it's going to be hard to be that one who is not the victim, to be supportive. You don't understand my plight, he says. I've been going through a lot. And then here you come talking about you understand. You don't understand. Bleep. Well, I know this. I know that you people, no, you didn't go there. Oh, so now you're creating a division between us. Whereas before, as long as I'm giving you, or I'm in the bed with you, or I'm making you look good, or I'm going along with whatever you're going along with, then we're we. Oh, okay. If you are in the wrong location, the relationship's not going to survive. And when I say wrong location, I mean that type of location where they don't like your kind. Let's just be honest. Because I was in an interracial relationship and I was in an area where they didn't like our kind. Okay? The stares, the attitudes, the mumbling under the breath, the not giving us service because we were who we were. It was frustrating for both of us. And then I started having this period where I was 100% all in concerning my people. And it was at times over the top. And this man is listening to me and he's saying some things like, okay, yeah, I get it, babe. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But then I'm saying, no, you don't get it. And he's looking at me like, I don't know what to say then, because I'm not about to get into no argument with you about this. And when I was getting more heated about things, I noticed there was this distance that was developing. We were close until the issue showed up. And then, of course, you're getting enlightened when you're in college. And when you're getting enlightened and you're around other people that enlighten you, and you never did have issues with your own ethnicity, you tend to gravitate to your own ethnicity more so than you do others. So for some folks, your relationship is going to weather the storm because, well, you both see each other as simple human beings and no one is on that black power or white power trip. And you don't have the type of influencers around you that's keeping that fire going. And you're not big about watching news media that is starting up a lot of stuff too. But then for that one who you got your mama in your ear and you got your dad in your ear and you've been reading articles and you've been doing your research and you're getting engrossed in the racial divide and why people are angry and all that, you just might bring some trouble to the relationship that you never had before. That anger that folks have been warning you about shows up when the issues show up at the door. I remember the times being followed around in a store. I remember the times where I was given the side eye. I remember the times when there's somebody showing up at my car window asking me, what are you doing with that white man? And that white man wasn't just any type of white man. He was ready to get out the car and hit him. Like, why are you over here at my car window? You see, there is going to be this frustration on the inside. You're in the middle of the road and you're trying to figure out what you should say or how you should say it. And you don't want to come off as, and then one day you get tired of it and you start saying what you truly feel. Somebody's feelings are going to get hurt. Somebody's going to reevaluate being in a relationship with you. Someone's going to talk about how, you know what, it's much easier being with somebody that looks like me than to be with somebody that's got all this baggage. I remember driving in the car one day saying to myself that if I was no longer in this relationship that I'm currently in, would I consider being in a relationship with someone who's the opposite ethnicity like I had in the past, and of course having a number of friends and so forth. In this time in my life, would I want that? And I'm still thinking because I know what that looks like, especially once again, if you're living in the wrong location. So me having been in atmospheres where I was the only black person or the first black person, you see, I heard comments. I dealt with the attitudes and the eye rolls and the deep sighs and name calls and whatever else. And I could have been the one that was angry at every single person that wasn't looking like me, including those whose shade wasn't my shade. But I chose to give that over to the one true God years ago because I don't like that feeling. I don't like having this frustration, this anger, this disappointment, this depression, and this it's me against them type of attitude. It is a fight sometimes because you've got people who you want to come over here and pick with me. Now, I didn't look at you for the color of your skin, but I looked at you for the content of your character, borrowing a little bit from Martin Luther King. And now you got the nerve to treat me like this because you assume something about a black woman, or you assume that, I'm going to freak out or act up or call you a bunch of names or whatever else. And then when I'm not the way you assumed, you're angry. You see, some of you all know what I'm talking about. Some folks want to be so right about everything concerning who we are as people that when we prove them wrong, they try real hard to make you be just what they have created this stereotype of you to be. The Lord brings my mind to Jesus, who here he was Jewish, and he couldn't even get a break with his own kind, much less others. An individual who's gone around doing all these things to help people, trying to show some love, and they want to find every possible way to bring this man down. And that's what some of you all feel like. And that's what some of you all are experiencing. It's not just a feeling. You're experiencing this. This is why you gravitate to the stories that you gravitate to in media. And meanwhile, that one who you're in that relationship with, they're looking at you and they're saying, okay, how deep is this rabbit hole going to be? Because I don't know if I'm going to be able to, keep going down this hole with this person and trying to bring them up or bring them out. It's too much work. Yes, it's too much work. Somebody should have told some people that before they started getting involved with that other kind. That ethnicity that your mama or your daddy warned you about. Yes, there is a lot of work involved. And if you're not willing to, coddle someone, Lord Jesus, if you're not willing to handhold, if you're not willing to sit there and empathize, sympathize, if you're not willing to just listen to all of the cuss words in the other room about that race, then no, it's not for you. God is freeing some people because he knows what you got yourself mixed up into. Your mama, your daddy, and everybody else don't know, not yet anyway, that you are contemplating on breaking up with that person. We made a mistake. Yes, we did, because he thought and she thought that we got all of this racial bias business out the way and that we could just love each other without baggage. We don't live in a perfect world. That sort of thing don't come until Jesus come. There's always going to be baggage. And you'll have baggage even if it's not an interracial relationship. But we're zeroing in on interracial relationships because that's what the Lord put in my spirit. I was minding my own business. I woke up just ready to face another day. That was the last thing I was thinking of. But the Lord showed me in the spirit where there are women who are crying. And women that are being abused and being ridiculed and hurt. And they don't want to go and tell anyone what's happening because, well, another black man in jail. I don't want that. But I don't want to be abused, says a woman in the spiritual realm. I don't want to be abused like this. I am not the one who had hurt black people. I've always been cool with black people, she says. But the nerve of him, he keeps calling me these names every time he gets upset. He's frustrated. I get it. We got these kids. They can't see their dad acting like this. And so she's making plans to leave him. The anger has to be put in check, especially if you want to maintain a relationship with someone who you chose or they chose you. And you all are different ethnicities. I know that for some people, they don't want to pipe it down, but you need to, you ought to, you better. Because when you are in a relationship with someone who is trying to empathize, sympathize, no, they are not you. But then if that's what you wanted, then that's what you should have been with a person who could understand your plight better than the one that you're with. See, the relationships are being challenged on every front. Those old issues are resurfacing. Children being mistreated are resurfacing. Before my grandmother checked out of here, she said that we were going to go right back into the way it used to be. She saw it. And I said, what do you mean? She said, it's going to be that prejudice again. It's going to be the racism. She said, they're going to make it hard for black people again. This was months before she left this planet in 2015. May 2015, to be more specific, when she passed away. And she was right. We've been dealing with this sort of thing all over again. Eye rolls, attitudes, people now offering you jobs because of, once again, your skin or what they perceive your skin to mean. Because as I told one particular white woman, I said, we got different types of black folks, just like you all got different types of white people. And you can either tolerate certain white people or you don't tolerate certain white people. Just like we can tolerate certain black folks and other black folks we can't tolerate. Okay. Some folks say, well, why does it have to be that way? It's that way because it all boils down to what culture, what creed, what social class, what your faith is, and everything else. And some people just don't have a high tolerance for a certain type of black, no more than a certain type of white, or Asian, or Mexican, or Italian, or Puerto Rican, or Filipino. I mean, we could go down the line. Chinese, Japanese. Look, everybody got some type of personality that they do not have patience for. And so if you have come to a place where you say, I am not going to deal with this type of personality, this type of background, this type of whoever, and you're in an interracial relationship, you need to have that conversation sooner rather than later and make the necessary arrangements to get some things done. Ain't no sense in keep arguing. I'm praying in Jesus' mighty name that there will be more love in the household for those who do want their relationships, for those who really do want to try. But like I said, one suggestion, and this is a very good one, is you got to pipe it down with the attitude and the anger. Get around some folks where you can let loose, but don't keep doing that to that person who you claim you love. Okay? They only are going to deal with it, but for so long. And then to be physically abusive or emotionally abusive, some individuals are. And they call themselves loving someone. Well, she understand. No, she's not going to keep understanding. And now the police is showing up. And here's another one. Another black person, brown person, in jail. Because they couldn't keep all of what they're seeing and they're hearing in check. So right now, I will tell you, as I'm hearing in the spirit, the best thing for you to do is to distance yourself from all people, places, and things that are creating all sorts of racial divide, prejudice, bias. That includes family members and friends. You're going to have to also be guarded about the type of subjects that show up, that yes, you do want to state your opinion, but do you really want to state your opinion? Is your opinion that important that you want to start getting your partner upset? There should not be any bitterness or clamor among you. But so many are doing just that because, yes, I get it. You're frustrated. But that man, he's resting in peace, who was abused by that police officer most recently, and all those other men and women are resting in peace. Okay. And no, there is no justice and no peace when you're able to be out there on the front line and do it and still have a level head about it. But if you're that one that you're out there and you're running it, running your mouth as well as running your feet and going back to your white woman or to your white man and hoping that they're going to keep on, easing your fears, your anger, your upset, there comes a point where a person says enough is enough. And for some of you all, you may have already had those conversations and the person still doesn't get it. Well, the scripture does allow separation, and divorce only comes into play unless there's been some adultery. So these are serious issues to think about. And then, of course, you've got a generation of children that's coming along, and they don't need to be hearing all of the anger and upset. Instead, you have a dialogue with them that is free of the prejudice, of personal prejudice, personal bias, but instead you speak to them about, yes, there are going to be times in this world that you are going to be faced with all sorts of issues because of the color of your skin. But we don't want you to be set back in your mentality, in your education, in your wealth, and so on because somebody called you a name, or because somebody doesn't like your color, or because somebody assumes that you're something that you're not. Let's be logical. Let's be practical. Let's control our tempers. Let's do the types of things that will make those individuals go, oh my goodness, I didn't know that you guys act like that. Yeah. Civilized, respectful. Yeah. As for the relationship, once again, a relationship any relationship for that matter should be covered in prayer. Those of you all who are aware of individuals in your family or you yourself are in an interracial relationship, be in prayer. Take all of your burdens over to the one true God. Maybe your issues are not as bad as some where they do have to separate or get a divorce because of the physical abuse, because of the anger, because people are throwing things or losing it in front of children or what have you. But for some of you all, it's just you've hit a bumpy road and you need nothing more than God to give you the peace and the love and the appreciation for one another. And so I am praying that for you individuals who are going through your share of challenges. Like I said, I remembered being in an interracial relationship where we had our highs and we had our lows. But the thing is that I also had to evaluate whether or not I was going to be able to weather the storm much longer. There was a lot of sacrifice that was made in that relationship. And for some of you all, I know you are making a lot of sacrifices and you want to prove some people wrong and you really want your relationship to flourish, to grow. Get back to thinking about what drew you both together. And if your relationship was built on a solid foundation, it will weather this temporary storm. But if it wasn't built on a solid foundation and it was more about appearance and about, what you heard and, just trying to show off a bit or what have you, or because somebody had good credit, those sorts of relationships, they have a lot of storms, a lot of problems because they were built on shoddy foundations. Allow the Lord to lead, to guide, to instruct, to influence, and to build you up mentally, physically, spiritually. I thank you as always for taking time out of your busy schedule to listen. You've been listening to YouTube NM Enterprise 7. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment. We do welcome giving on this channel, and all the best to you.